This is the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and they're actually promoting on one of their websites, hey, this is a tool that anyone, any employer can use, plug in the information, and it'll spit out whether these people are legal or not. It is a tool in the weapon against illegal immigration that is long, long overdue being used and implemented in this country.
It really is, and we think it's something that can be far more effective than building a wall across the entire length of the border. You cut off the jobs magnet. That's a big reason why most folks choose to come to the country legally, or illegally rather, and it's a very simple system to do. And listen, when employers have a new hire, they're already required to fill out an I-9 form, which helps them verify whether or not somebody is authorized to work in the United States. But purchasing fraudulent documents is pretty easy nowadays on the black market. With advancements in technology, things like that. E-Verify, free online tool that allows employers to enter that information into a system that then checks to make sure that the documents being used are actually real documents and that the worker is authorized to work in the United States.
It's important stuff, because you're right. It is as easy, from the folks who tell me what goes on in Los Angeles, for example. It's as easy as going to one of the swap meets in Los Angeles, and they have all these booths set up where, this booth you can get a fake Social Security number. This booth you can get a fake government form of ID or whatever they're hawking. This booth will give you whatever paperwork you want. So this is a real weapon in fighting that fraud. Can virtually shut it down if all employers participate in this. That's the problem. But the good news is tens of millions of employers last calendar year did use the E-Verify system, correct?
Right. We're seeing through the data that USCIS is putting out that nearly half of all new hires are being run through the system right now. There are several states that require companies to use E-Verify, both private and public companies. The federal government requires federal contractors to use the system. Most public employers across the country are using it. What's interesting is you mentioned California at the very top with their sanctuary city laws. California has also passed a law forbidding cities from requiring businesses to use E-Verify. And
Right.
Still what we're seeing in California is it's got the highest usage in the country. Businesses there want to help prevent future illegal immigration by making sure that they have a legal workforce.
And this is important not only for the system that works to verify whether people are here legally or not, and to discover whether people have breached our sovereignty and are here illegally, but it also eventually becomes a form of reducing the motivation to try and breach our sovereignty. In other words, if illegals know south of the border or wherever they're coming from that eventually they're going to be caught in a system and not be able to work because of E-Verify, that's going to percolate across regions where we know there are hotbeds of illegal immigration, and it's necessarily going to reduce the motivation to come here if they believe they're not going to get a job.
Right, and if you have large numbers of people trying to cross the border illegally because they know that when they get to the United States they can find a job and work it, because nobody's going to crack down on them for working that job, then if you can discourage them from coming, then Border Patrol can spend most of their time focusing on the more dangerous elements that are trying to cross the border instead of just focusing on folks that are trying to come here and work illegally. So if you can reduce those numbers again, it will help Border Patrol become more effective by discouraging folks from coming here illegally.
Now, you mentioned the wall. I'm sure you don't mean to poo-poo border security through a wall. It's a tool. It's another tool in the toolbox when you start adding all these pieces together with E-Verify and then sending troops to the border. Frankly, I've argued on this program that we need to militarize the border because those of us who have spent some time at the border, like I have, understand that it is necessarily, in some pockets, a war zone down there. And in my opinion, we need to treat it that way. But these are all tools, when taken together, secure our country and also send a very large message that this country is firm and resolved about bringing illegal immigration to an end.
Right. What the federal government needs to do is it needs to take a comprehensive approach to enforcing immigration laws. You know, as you said, you can't do it with just one thing. You need multiple tools in that toolbox. You're right. I'm not poo-pooing the wall. We certainly need a wall from a national security point of view, and also in some of the heavily populated areas, it will absolutely help Border Patrol control some of the illegal crossings that are occurring in those areas. But again, you can't stop illegal immigration with a wall alone. About 40 to 50% of people in the country illegally came here legally in the first place and simply overstayed their visa.
Right.
Why? Again, because they can obtain a job and continue to work it. Right. E-Verify helps with that. A biometric entry exit system will help with that. And again, targeting sanctuary cities is another